Floyd County Health Department, located at 16 East 12th Street, is your resource for better health and wellness. Whatever your needs, we can assist you in finding the right care or connect you to a program that can help. We are committed to improving the quality of life locally by providing exceptional medical services, tracking and preventing the spread of disease, promoting health and safety through education and communication, monitoring area environmental safety, and ensuring our community is prepared for public health emergencies. Find us on the web at nwgapublichealth.org/counties/Floyd or call us at 706-295-6123.
Hello, I'm Lisa Smith here on Southern Exposure Channel 4. Thanks so much for being with us. We're going to be conducting a series of programming to let you know about our fabulous Rome Floyd Health Department and all of the services that they offer to the public. I tell you, I was amazed when I had a chance to sit down with Wade Sellers and his staff and find out everything that they do. So I know that you're going to find this extremely educational, and also there's going to be parts of what we talk about that are very applicable that you can use at home, as well as services that you may want to also make sure that you use in our community. If you're not sure where the health department is, it is located at 16 East 12th Street, which is right off of South Broad. It's a beautiful building that was built with SPLOST funds back in the early 2000s, and they have all of these services right there. So today, my first interview is going to be with Shane Hendricks, and he is actually over the environmental health office for the health department. Thanks, Shane, for being with us
Thanks
today.
for having me, Lisa. I appreciate it.
I tell you, now, as you see, I have notes on my lab, which is not the common way that I usually do these programs. But because of all the many things that you guys do, I wanted to make sure that I didn't miss anything. And then we're going to have a chance to talk with emergency preparedness and, of course, talk about the clinical aspects. And then, lastly, do a food inspection show, those are definitely going to be some applicable things that we can use during holiday planning for meals and all the kind of things. So let's start off with you. Okay. You have a lot of responsibilities. So tell me some of the responsibilities that fall under environmental health.
I think a lot of people don't realize the diverse programs. Environmental health has a lot of diverse programs. We have, in addition to the restaurants and the food service, which I think most people are most common with. We also inspect all the public swimming pools, all of the hotels and motels through our tourist accommodation program, all the tattoo parlors through our body art program. We have rabies control for animal bites for people and domestic animals. So we have really a wide variety of responsibility. Septic Systems are another program that we have, permitting and inspection of septic systems. So we cover a wide range that people may not be familiar with. So.
And okay, let's start with the rabies program. We've had a couple of scares with rabies. Yeah. So what do you guys do as far as rabies control?
Well, rabies is always present in the wild animal population, and that's known. It is a deadly virus that attacks the central nervous system. It's very preventable. The way that people come in contact with rabies is through our pets, our domestic dogs and cats. And so our goal behind the rabies program is to protect people when they're bitten or exposed, checking to see if those animals are vaccinated, checking to see if we don't want them running freely. We want them to be able to be held or observed for 10 days to minimize the risk of rabies. We have had some positive cases in Floyd County this year, so in several wild animals, not any domestic pets, but our goal is to prevent spillover rabies from the wild animals going through our domestic pets to people. So.
And of course, the best way to do that is inoculations.
Absolutely.
For our domestics.
Keeping your dogs and cats current on their vaccinations. That's the number one way.
And if I remember correctly, you guys offer clinics. Is that correct?
We offer clinics once a year. We use all of our local vets. It takes everybody kind of pitching in to run the clinics every year. We offer them at a reduced price. Mm-hmm. We usually have a very good turnout. We promote it in the community and try to get as many people to bring their pets and get them vaccinated as we can.
Now, septic systems, I don't think most people think about that, because I think most people think that's part of the building inspection if they're doing a new property or a house buy. How do you help folks with septic systems?
Well, if you're not accessible to city sewer, which Rome has a pretty extensive sewer system. But once you get so far, sewer only goes so far. So when you're out in the county and the more rural areas, you're not gonna have access. You would have to have an on-site system. We help folks. That's actually what they have to really stop by and get that squared away up front before they can get their building permit. So they get a soil test. They bring the soil test to us. We make site visits. We kind of get involved with how they're placing their house, where their system would go, how big of a system, and things like that. And then we also come back and inspect it once it's put in to make sure it's put in properly.
So you need to be kind of the first stop that somebody makes when they're starting to think about a house build.
Yeah, we hope so. We know that, people aren't very familiar with it, especially if they're, moving, building a house. They're coming from an area that was, on sewer before. They're like, oh, I didn't even think about that. But it is a stop. And we got a really good relationship with our other departments in the county and the city, and they're good about if they make that stop first. They send them back, hey, you're going to be on septic, you need to go by the health department. So,
any tips for us who are on septic to make sure we have healthy systems?
Absolutely. It's always a good idea to pump your septic tank every 3 to 5 years. Just pumping your tank every 5 years will double the life of your septic system. Just doing that by itself. A lot of people don't think about it. They don't realize that maintenance is required or that it's beneficial, and it is by a long shot. Septic systems do fail, and they can lead to sewage discharge in the yard and things like that. And a lot of times we see the lack of maintenance, meaning pumping the tank, has never been done over 30 or 40 years. So definitely a good idea to pump your tank every 5 years. So.
Great, and the healthier toilet paper is probably not. There's certain kinds of paper you want to use in those versus.
I don't know that there's any papers that don't break down. I can tell you that I've learned that the wipes, wet wipes, any of those kind of materials, even though they say they break down or that they're flushable, I don't know about the sewer system, but I can tell you from a septic system and from seeing what I've seen over the years, those don't break down. Maybe they don't break down as quickly as they should, but they can really cause problems. So I would just say no wipes or any other kind of items, cigarette butts and things like that. They obviously don't break down in a septic system. So
just because it's flushable doesn't mean it's the best thing for your septic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now let's talk about body art. I think that's, I think maybe most people would go, why? Why is that part of environmental health?
Well, the basis for environmental health and all of our programs is to eliminate conditions, conditions that can impact someone's health. So whether it's sewage and discharge of sewage can have viruses and bacteria that obviously people, you don't want them to come in contact with, or keeping food safe. Obviously people can get sick from that. Same thing with a body art facility. You are piercing the skin. You want to make sure those needles are sterilized. You want to make sure they're using sanitary procedures to clean, aftercare, things like that. So not only is there skin infections and things you need to be concerned about, but also bloodborne diseases that you can get if they're not handled properly while they're doing your body art procedure. So using a permitted facility, a facility that's inspected, that way we know they're using those procedures is a very good idea.
And of course, our hotels, our motels, and our bed and breakfast. You guys are very active in those because most all of those also have a food service component and a pool component.
Yeah, that's correct. We have 3 different scenarios for motels or hotels. A lot of your smaller motels may just have a pool, and that would be, we would check the rooms for, sanitary conditions and do routine inspections and things like that. There are larger hotels that have a full kitchen, just do continental breakfast maybe, and just like you said, there's some that have pools also. So there's 3 different areas. Those require 3 different permits, and we would inspect all those to make sure that there's no risk to the public.
Do all swimming pools have to have an inspection or have a permit?
Any public swimming pool open to the public that charges a fee. And we have several of those in Floyd County. We have like 42 pools right now.
Oh my gracious!
That we inspect. Yeah,
I did not realize we had that many. I guess when you start looking at apartment complexes, Cave Spring, the big pool there. So
yeah, it's a combination of hotel pools, subdivisions, apartments.
Town Green.
Yeah, like the public, the city or county type pools. Yeah, any of those facilities, we would do a permit to operate, routine inspections, making sure that we're trying to eliminate hazards both in and out of the pool. Making sure safety equipment is in place, water chemistry is right, circulation of the pool is good. To keep the chemicals flowing right, things like that, and just kind of following up when we have a problem.
You probably love winter when those things after Labor Day they get closed down. That takes a little part of all your huge responsibilities out.
It does. We have about 30 outdoor pools, but then we also have like 11 indoor pools. Now indoor pools, like at many of our hotels, they're
like
open,
the YMCA.
They're open year round, so they have a year round permit. So we just inspect them more frequently or 2 or 3 times a year and follow up, but their permit they don't open and really close, they stay open. It's a revolving permit.
But that's good to know, because again, there could be some pretty serious things that happen with pools as well.
There really can. There's with of course, if your chemistry is not right, you don't have chlorine in the pool, you could have waterborne illnesses, bacteria and things like that. There's been some big outbreaks that have happened before, not here in Floyd, but in other areas of Georgia. Another thing that's something that people probably don't realize is there can be entrapment hazards in a pool. Things like if the main drain covers are broken, or if the circulation is too strong, it can create suction on things like the main drain. So we will monitor during an inspection the flow of the pool, make sure it's right, not too strong, not too low.
Makes sense.
And monitor the chemistry and make sure the phone works. If there's an emergency, people can call. Just basic things like that.
That the hook is there, the buoy.
Basic safety equipment, just to make sure that if there is an incident that someone, even while we're not there, obviously we're just doing inspections, that those that the materials in place where people can handle an emergency.
How about public bodies of water, like Rocky Mountain?
Yeah, we don't handle.
Okay, so
we
those
don't handle,
open ones.
Your
own.
It would have to be a pool is a closed, loop type. Yeah, you really can't monitor, chemistry or anything in a natural body of water like that. But so that's not something we would permit for sure. But we do spend a large portion of our time, especially in the spring, about March or April. Everybody wants to open about the same time. So we were talking about before about you never kind of know what's going to happen in our office. So some days are slower and some days are busier. When it's springtime and pools are getting ready to open, we're doing 3 or 4, 5 inspections a day on pools. So.
And I guess that's the important thing, Shane, for us to talk about is, sometimes everybody equates you guys with the restaurant inspections.
Yeah.
But you're there to keep all of us safer and healthier in the long run. Yeah. And of course, let's go to restaurant inspections. That's a huge part of what you all are part of. And we're actually going to have a chance to work with Tara on one of the shows and actually walk through an inspection. But that's a big part of your job. And it's not just restaurants anymore, because now we've gotten big time into food trucks.
Yes, we have a lot of food trucks. Floyd County has about 275 permitted establishments right now. That includes fixed establishments, that includes catering facilities, that includes mobile food trucks, a lot of those. If you include the school cafeterias, city and county, you're talking about over 300. But so really over 300 facilities. But there's a lot to be observed, checked out, and monitored in a restaurant to make sure that there's no risk of foodborne illness to the public. And kind of going back to what you're saying about our programs in general, we're just, no matter what it is, whether it's pools, whether it's body art, whether it's sewage, we're just, the risks that those issues can pose to the public, we want to minimize those so that overall health of the community is monitored. And so it's a lot more than just the restaurants, but yeah, our restaurant program does take up a lot of our time and resources, and we take it very seriously, and we try to keep those inspections current and follow up as much as we can.
Now, if we see a low score,
Mm-hmm.
so there's lots of reasons. I mean, it doesn't mean that this place is just not fit for having food come out of it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of reasons for that. What do you do for the restaurant owners when they do, maybe they've missed some really integral parts of what needs to happen? Do you go back and inspect?
Well, I can tell you that as inspectors, education is a big part of what we do. We do routinely inspect the facilities. Sometimes we find some pretty serious violations that our food inspections are risk-based. So we are definitely focusing on things like temperatures, hand washing, food storage, things that really can be at a higher risk to the public. So when we find those things, we are in the process of pointing out these violations. We're educating the staff, educating the owners. Yeah, they get a written score. Yes, it will be written up. There'll be violations recorded, and they are public. But when a facility gets a low score, especially the high-risk violations, are going to be corrected immediately if possible. That's our goal in a facility. If there's a problem, most things can be fixed immediately. If it's something like a refrigerator that's out, that we have to come back and check that. But we can assure you that when we have major issues, we're going to make sure they're corrected on site to eliminate the risk for folks that are eating there.
Now, as far as other places that have refrigerator units, there's the grocery stores, the big box stores, convenience stores. That also falls under your auspices?
No, we don't inspect grocery stores or convenience stores. There is actually a separate agency called the Department of Agriculture. And so they inspect, grocery stores like Kroger. They inspect like, Walmart, things like that. Now, if the only exception would be even convenience stores that may serve, have a small kitchen that serves biscuits. It's a small portion of the store, and that's kind of the agreement that we have with this agency, or with Department of Agriculture. So if there's a convenience store that may serve biscuits in a small kitchen, the Department of Agriculture would inspect the store and the kitchen.
Wow. It's kind of nice for you guys, though, so you're not both doing almost the same job.
It is. We have kind of an agreement. The only exception would be like at Walmart, there's a Subway. If it's a chain restaurant like a Subway or some other chain built into it, we inspect all the Subways in a Walmart. That'd be an example of one we would take. But
how about the food services like at Berry College, Shorter, Darlington, Redmond, Floyd?
Yeah, we inspect
those are yours also.
Inspect all the cafeterias and the hospitals, and the restaurants that may be attached. That a lot of those have Subways or Chick-fil-A's, things like that are embedded. We will inspect each of those individually. Yeah.
Now, at least to my memory, Floyd County's not it for y'all, correct?
For
your
range.
Services. Yeah, you range outside of our county, correct, with your services?
With our facilities and our overall programs, we are within the county.
Okay.
But we do work with our district office through our emergency preparedness department.
Okay.
We also are connected to things like for Zika surveillance with the recent scares with the Zika virus. We have developed a team of inspectors from different counties, and we kind of work together, crossing over into different counties. Also, with we do have a lead program also, and that gets monitored. Cases from different, not only Floyd County, but other counties are sometimes involved. So we follow up on those also. So.
Now, how big is your department?
We have 4 inspectors and one support staff, and it takes everybody working together to maintain not only our job has got a lot of variety. I mean, we have shifting gears. you never really know what's going to happen from day to day. Sometimes it's more immediate things like animal bites or exposures that have to be addressed, you know, immediately. Sometimes big issues that may require 2 or 3 of us to be on a task at one time to knock it out and, you know, minimize the risk. Other days you may not have those immediate concerns, and you're doing your inspections from the restaurants or the hotels. So you're constantly shifting gears, and but we're used to it. But it takes everybody working together, working as a team to, you know, especially in a county this size, with the number of facilities. We have close to 400 facilities total. So it takes all the inspectors, you know, take a piece of it and kind of run with it, and it all comes together in the end.
Yeah, the body art companies, businesses seem to be on a rise here. How many roughly do we have in Floyd County?
We have 4 body art studios
Really?
right now.
I would have really thought there was more.
We had 6. We've had 6. Last year we had 6. We had 1 move to the Calhoun area. The artist moved there, and another facility closed. But currently right now we have 4. I have received plans, an application for another one that may open soon. But yeah, but one studio can have, you know, several artists. So.
Now, as far as the new e-cigarette vape shops, you guys don't have any inspection part of that you need to be doing.
Yeah, no, we don't handle e-cigarettes or any of the vapor type shops. The only thing that we do handle is, you know, there is no smoking in public facilities in Georgia. So occasionally we would have handle a smoking complaint in a store or a restaurant that we might have to investigate. Complaints is another. Any of the programs that we handle, complaints is another big part of kind of what we do, whether it's a restaurant or a hotel or a swimming pool. We will investigate complaints and follow up on those for all of our programs.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the public maybe sees an infraction, or they're concerned, or they've been someplace where they saw something that maybe didn't seem right, or they didn't feel well when they left. What do our citizens need to do? How do they need to reach out to you and let you know?
Well, they need to know if they're in one of our facilities for sure, that they can call our office at any time and file a complaint. It will be investigated specifically for restaurants, hotels, pools, any of the facilities that you're in that we regulate. If there's a sewage issue, discharge in a specific location, we would follow up on that. Now, we do get complaints on a lot of other issues. Things like trash, things like just water drainage. Just maybe we'll have a big storm and there'll be some drainage issues. And what ends up happening with those, based on the situation, we'll work with our other county departments, and you know, you may need to call the building department. You know, garbage would be something that, you know, the county ordinance officer may handle, or someone has tires in their yard. You know, that's something that we may refer to the ordinance officer. But any of the complaints, any of the facilities that we have, if someone has they get sick in a restaurant, they see something they're not comfortable with in a restaurant or a hotel, or they know of someone that maybe in a body art facility that you know, they didn't see something they weren't comfortable with, they can either call our office or they can go to our website. It's www.nwgapublichealth.org.
Okay. And another question I have, because I just recall, barbershops. Do y'all do anything with the beauty parlor, barbershops, nail salons?
We don't handle the body art. I mean, we don't handle the barbershops or the nail salons. We do have at the state level, there is some guidelines for tanning facilities. We refer those to, there's a state office, a department of our state that they can file a complaint through there. So if someone had an issue with that, they could call our office and we would give them the information for that if they had any issues with a tanning salon, but not barbershops. Or, if I'm not mistaken, I believe a Department of Agriculture inspects those.
Really?
As well. I think it's a different branch.
Interesting.
Department of Agriculture is a very diverse organization as well. So.
Did we cover everything you wanted to cover today?
I think we've
talked
covered
about all the many things that you do, and then of course if someone sees something, that they think needs to be brought to someone's attention?
Absolutely.
And what's the phone number that they would call?
Yeah, our office number is 706-295-6316. We're open 8 to 4:30. You can call anytime if you have a question or concern. You know, if it's in addition to just concerns, if you are someone who wants to open a restaurant, you want to have questions about opening a restaurant, we can help you with the application process, get you started on that to get a permit. And if you have complaints, we can handle complaints for any of those issues that we talked about there. So yeah, we're always there, and I think that I'm glad to be able to let people know that I think that with the restaurant inspections and the scores in the paper, people associate environmental health with restaurant inspections, but we do have there's a lot of different programs out there, and there's a lot of concerns that people could have if any of these issues aren't handled properly. So.
Well, and I think the main thing too for the citizens is you want to get environmental health on board with you beforehand. You don't want to have to make changes, kind of like with the fire department and those services. If you're going to be laying out a professional kitchen, you really need their input, and your services are free, correct?
Yeah.
I mean, you'll come out to a site and give me information?
We can definitely give guidance on that, yeah.
Not design help, but guidance.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, guidance. Yeah. We do have plan review fees for restaurants. If you're opening a restaurant, there is a fee. It's one fee for the plan review, the permitting, the inspections, and everything. So that would be a fee. But we would definitely, if someone's thinking about opening a restaurant, sometimes it does happen that people can get kind of, like you said, they don't understand the process. They get kind of ahead, that maybe they've already started, and then they find out that, oh, I need to get with the health department. And they've already got kind of sinks in place. The placement of sinks, the organization of the kitchen, the layout of the equipment is very critical to how the restaurant operates, how food is served, to prevent cross-contamination and things like that. So we would definitely, the more interaction you have with us up front, we're going to help educate you and work with you to where long term, if you get that squared away up front, you're going to be successful once you get the restaurant open. So.
Just a note to our food trucks too, because we do have an abundance of those. What are some of the first steps they need to do when they decide they want to go buy a food truck?
I would definitely recommend someone who's interested in either opening a restaurant, whether it be a food truck or anything else, give us a call. Let us get you the paperwork for it. The application that we have asks questions about the food items you're going to serve. It asks questions about how you're going to prepare it, where you're going to be operating, how long you're going to be operating, things like that. And those questions help us to kind of paint a picture. The operator may not see it obviously the same way we see it, but we are using our guidelines and our rules and food, safety standards to help kind of construct a layout of a kitchen that will make it safe once it's opened. So as far as a food truck is concerned, there are some trucks that have quite different setups than others, and depending on your menu, depending on how you want to operate, will definitely determine that. So getting that paperwork up front, letting us go through some questions and helping you along would be the first step before you purchased it. A lot of those trucks are manufactured, and if you start with us, we can help you get the equipment in place, lay it out properly before you go pay money and have this thing built, and then we have to, make adjustments or something to get you permitted and operating. So I would my best advice would be always start with us, even if it's just a phone call.
Super. Yeah. Shane, thank you so much. This has been extremely informative. So they are here to help all of us and to also keep us safe. So make sure that you use the resources that they have available for the citizens of Roman Floyd County. Yeah. You can stop by and talk to anyone at the 16 East 12th or make an appointment. And of course, or consult the website, because I'm sure there's plenty of frequently asked questions as well on that website. So today, my guest has been Shane Hendricks, and he's with the environmental health portion of our Rome Floyd Health Department. So stay tuned, and we're going to have some more programming and talk about other services that are offered as well through our health department. I'm Lisa Smith here on Channel 4 Southern Exposure.
Apparel accessories provided by Blue Sky Outfitter on Broad Street in downtown Rome.